How are you guys doing today? Hope you're having a great day. As most of you know, I'm Dr. Diegue, and I'm here today with Mr. Daly and Mr. Brett. And our point for today's nighttime is to discuss the senior application process for colleges. I know this past Tuesday night, most of you came to our college application night, and we had a lot of good questions from the parents and students as well. But for those of you who were not able to attend, we wanted to do a quick review, and then afterward we will follow up with some questions. So I'll send it over to Mr. Brett.
Seniors, it's a trying time. It's a very stressful time, but I want you to know that we are here to help you get through this. We're going to do a quick overview of the slideshow that was presented on Tuesday night and just go over a few things. Mr. Daly is going to help out as well. Where should you be right now? You want to have researched colleges, visited some colleges, and get a list of schools. That list should be in between 3 to 7 schools with 10 schools at the max. You don't want to really go over 10. If you have to, we understand. If you have questions about which schools you should choose, come down and see me in the College and Career Center. You want to make sure you're asking 2 teachers for letters of recommendation. Please do this in person first. You do not want to send them a link or request through Naviance that gives them a link right away, because I've talked to a few teachers who have said they will not open it up unless the student comes to talk to them first. We'll request the teacher letters of recommendation on Naviance. Mr. Daly will go over that. You want to discuss the college costs with your parents. It's a very important conversation. You want to make sure that it's a school that after you fill out the Fafsa with your parents, after you get a college price sheet from the school, you want to make sure that you and your family can afford the cost of the school, because school can be very, very expensive. And you also want to sign up for the SAT or the ACT if you need to finish up those tests. How should I be using Naviance as a senior? You want to add the colleges to the college I'm applying to list. This will drive everything. This will show you where you want to be, where you want to start applying to the school, whether that's through the Common App, directly to the institution, or the Coalition app. You need to request transcripts through Naviance. We talked about requesting teacher recommendations. You also want to request counselor recommendations if needed. Make sure you know that if it's needed or not. And you want to do that through the Google form, which will be sent out momentarily to you guys. You want to view and sign up for college admission visits. We have over 150 schools coming to North Penn on a daily basis. This morning we had South Carolina, as well as Messiah and Manor College. And I think tomorrow afternoon we have the University of Georgia coming in as well. So make sure that you're signing up for those visits through Naviance. And one of the good things is we don't hand out passes anymore. Once you sign up through Naviance, you have to click sign me up and then sign me up again for some reason. You just use your Chromebook or your phone to show that you're registered, to show to your teacher, and that counts as your pass. If you have to miss class for this, make sure you are making up the work. It is not the teacher's responsibility nor my responsibility. It is your responsibility. You also want to view scholarship opportunities on either Naviance or other websites, and that's ongoing. That is continuous throughout the school year. Login information is school username as well as student ID. Make sure that you remember that. If you need to change it, if you need to reset your password, please let me know. All right, very quickly, the FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, says that you as a student have the right to all of your academic records. So that includes letters of recommendation. You want to make sure that you read the FERPA information correctly, and you want to make sure that you end up waiving your right to see your letters of recommendation from the teachers. The reason why I say that is because it comes more valuable, it's more accurate from the teacher without you viewing it or your input. Colleges see whether or not you waive your rights. Teachers see whether or not you waive your right. Please waive your right. We can't tell you what to do. We can only recommend it. But if you have problems doing this, again, come down to the College and Career Center. The college application. You can do this in the college website through Common App or the Coalition app, as I mentioned. You have to use your high school transcript, which we can provide you with. We also send that officially. Your test scores, the SATs, the ACTs, check for optional test score schools. I met with a school the other day that is a test optional school up in New York that was called Marist. Secondary school report, which is the counselor like a counselor recommendation. We, the counselors, take care of that. Teacher recommendations requirements vary per college, so make sure you are reading the requirements. And other requirements are your resume, possibly the outside letters of recommendation if needed, as well as the essay and possibly the interview. The application itself. How can you apply? Where can you apply? The Common Application is a massive one-stop shop for college applications. It allows students to fill out one big, tedious, long application that you could send over. I think now it's over 900 schools. You can also, the fees will be applied through Common App, and you must match your Common App to your Naviance account. If you need help with that, please come down and let me know. Each college may require supplemental information to be completed. The Coalition app is a newer program. Has over 90 schools participating. These schools that are on the Coalition app are schools that have, they want to be schools that can meet all of your financial needs. So if you have a need of X amount of dollars, that school promises they will try their best to meet your need. So if that's something that's very important to you, you can use the Coalition app if your school that you're applying to happens to be on there. You must indicate if you're using the Common App through Naviance, and make sure that you have everything in your what they call the digital locker. Individual college applications are found on the college website itself. Again, make sure you're letting us know that through Naviance. The application itself, what will you need? You will need your full name, your social security number, your mailing address, and an appropriate email. I say appropriate because some students have emails that may not tell the school who they are. You make sure your email has your name, some version of your name, not like b-ball player 24. Make sure that it's something of, for me, it would be Patrick Brett or Patrick.Brett, something along those lines. They're going to ask you for your GPA, your class rank, and test scores. We will also provide them for you on your transcript, not the test scores, but the GPA and class rank. So make sure that you are able to get them. They're in your About Me tab in the profile of Naviance. Reminders, use your full name as it appears in your North Penn transcript. If there's a little bit of a question into which name that is, come see me. We'll take care of that. And write down all of your usernames and passwords because you may forget them, or type them into your phone. Types of admission, you have rolling admission, which is first apply, first serve, usually takes 8 weeks. Regular decision, everybody applies by a certain date, everybody hears back on the same date. Early action, which everyone applies a little earlier and hears back earlier. It is non-binding. And early decision, same deal as early action, everybody applies earlier and hears back earlier, but it is binding, meaning that if you apply early decision and get into that school, you have to go there. No ifs, ands, or buts. When should you apply? You can start now. You want to apply mostly before Thanksgiving. And I say that because a lot of schools' priority deadlines are November 30th, as well as their merit deadlines are December 1. So make sure you get everything out before Thanksgiving. It's a great time frame to give yourself, timeline to give yourself, because between Thanksgiving and winter break, there's a lot going on, and you don't want to have to cram a lot of stuff into that 3-week period. Many colleges offer specific applications. They won't be open. They're all open now. And students are welcome to work on applications during lunch, study halls, no school period 1, no school period 8 in the College and Career Center. Transcript. I've gone over this a little bit. On your transcript is your final grades from 9th through 11th grade, your GPA, your class rank, as well as the courses from this year with no grades. This is what a transcript looks like. Just a brief sample of it. And you will see again the grades from 9th through 11th grade are on there and the courses for 12th grade. Test scores. You want to send your test scores yourself. We do not send them. You have to send them through the College Board for the SAT. You have to send them through ACT.org for the ACTs. Make sure you're doing this. Upcoming dates for the SAT. The late registration for October 6th SAT is September 26th. Make sure that if you are planning on taking that test and have not registered, you have until the 26th to pay an extra late fee. Mr. Daly is going to take over the letters of recommendation piece, so I'll turn it over to him.
It's a lot of information in 11 minutes.
It was a lot of information. I tried to talk very fast. I might have, yeah.
So I just want to share a couple things from the counselor's perspective. First, letters of recommendation. As Mr. Brett said, it's very important that you ask your teachers in person. That is the proper etiquette. Before you make the request on Naviance, talk to the teacher face to face. You need to check the college to which you're applying to see how many letters of recommendation they are requiring. Most schools are looking for 1 to 2 letters of recommendation, while others don't require any. For those students that are applying by way of the Common App, they're looking for 2 letters of recommendation and a counselor's recommendation. So again, when you're asking a teacher, you want to ask face to face, and then you would go on to Naviance under the colleges I'm applying to tab and actually identify that teacher as someone who's providing a letter of recommendation. You want to pick those teachers wisely. You want to pick a teacher where you performed well in their class and possibly is a teacher in the field of your anticipated major in college. Usually those teachers come from 10th and 11th grade years. For students that are requesting a letter of recommendation from their counselor, and this is very important, the counselors, the way the current home office is structured, counselors could be providing comments or letters of recommendation for in the neighborhood of 250 students. So it's very important that we're very clear on who is requesting a letter from a counselor and also how you can provide some information to that counselor. So step 1, as Mr. Brett alluded to a few minutes ago, there is going to be a Google form that is shared with all seniors in the very near future, where you will be able to request your counselor to write a letter of recommendation. Part of that Google form is also asking you to acknowledge that your final version of the blue senior survey is on file in your counselor's office. So if you recall, going back to last spring, we tried to get the ball rolling with the senior survey, which was a blue form provided in nighttime. And that blue form is really your opportunity to share with your counselor the major points that you would like highlighted in a letter of recommendation or comments that we'll be sharing with the various colleges. And that is also your parents' opportunity to share with the counselor the points that you would like highlighted or brought to the surface in a letter of recommendation for the college. So the majority of students did take advantage of the nighttime last spring, filled out the blue forms, and they are on file in the counselor's office. We have heard from some students who did not have the opportunity to complete it, in which case you would need to stop by the home office, get the blue form and complete it, and get it back to your counselor, because we rely on those blue forms very, very heavily when writing letters of recommendation. We also have had some other students who indicated that they didn't take that nighttime last spring so seriously or realize how heavily the counselors review those blue forms when writing letters of recommendation. So if you are wanting to replace your initial blue senior survey form, again, you need to go to your home office, get the blue form and complete it. And when you resubmit it, you need to write at the top of the form that you would like that form to replace the initial form. Again, with how many letters of recommendation and comments we have to write for students, we don't have the opportunity to run around the building and chase down blue forms. So it would be very helpful that when we start writing your letter of recommendation, that is in front of us to share the points that you would like us to share. The college essay, some colleges do require a college essay. Others recommend them. If you see the word recommend, we do strongly encourage that you complete it. I know a lot of English classes are currently doing the college essay in class, which is great. And we would definitely encourage you to get the ball rolling on your essay and use the resources at your disposal. Primarily, that would be your current English teacher. And I think the last thing we want to highlight is just for the college application, number one, you need to bring the pink parent release form, the release of records form, to us. We cannot acknowledge that you are a student here without that form. We cannot release any records on your behalf without the pink form being on file. And there are pink forms available in the home office, in the College and Career Center, which is K31, and the Transcript office, which is F35.
Or 25.
25. It's in FPOD. So you want to bring the completed record release form. If it's periods 1 through 4, you can drop it off in the College and Career Center. Periods 6 through 8, you'd be dropping it off at the Transcript office. Do not drop that off in your counselor's mailbox, or it's going to really hold up the whole process. Secondly, you need to complete your college application. That can be on the college's website by way of the Common App or the Coalition app. Third, you want to request your transcripts and your recommendations in Naviance, and that would also include making the recommendation for your counselor by way of the Google form. You want to make sure, fourth, that you send your ACT and or SAT and AP scores to the appropriate schools. And lastly, you want to review the college website for any additional application requirements that might be needed, whether that's an interview, an audition, etc. So I think those were that's a very quick overview of the information that we shared with your parents last Tuesday night. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Diegue, who's going to be fielding the questions that you now have the opportunity to provide.
Yes, so this morning I sent a link to all you seniors that basically had a question, that if you had any questions for your counselors, that you can fill out that link. So we have about 5 minutes or so we're going to go through some questions, but if we don't get a chance to answer the question that you have, feel free to either come down to K25 or email your counselor or even myself, and we'll be able to help you out with some of these questions. Okay, so one question I see is, so if you attended the college boot camp, do you get your transcript fee waived?
The answer to that is yes. You paid $20 to go to the college boot camp. Therefore, you have 10 transcripts already paid for. You have $2 per transcript, and you also have, that equals $20. There you go. The answer is yes.
Okay. Another question that I see, so are there stats, so GPA, class rank, etc., that show up on Home Access Center, are they finalized?
As of right now, the answer is no. We are hoping to finalize them tomorrow morning and make them available to students on Monday.
Okay. This next question I'll ask Mr. Daly. So when should I start applying for the Fafsa, and am I allowed to submit that application before I get my transcript?
So the Fafsa is separate really from the college application process. The Fafsa is the free application for federal student aid. It's really the starting point for all financial aid processes. That window opens on the Fafsa website on October 1. And I would encourage you to start that as soon as you can, anytime on or after October 1st. That process starts to generate what your expected family contribution is going to look like, and really starts to give you an idea of what the financial aid package is going to look like and what the dollars and cents are for the schools to which you're applying. In the application process, the request for transcripts really happens concurrently as the student is completing the application. So really, while you're completing the application, and submitting it at the same time you're submitting your request to the College and Career Center or the Transcript office.
Okay. Another question that I see, I'll ask Mr. Daly, what if you lose your blue form and need to get another one?
You would come to K25. There's a large stack of them. You would just come in, pick one up. I encourage you to take it home, fill it out, complete it as thoroughly as you can. If your parents would like or you would like, that's your parents' opportunity to provide some input. But again, we rely very heavily on those forms because that helps us write letters that would hopefully distinguish you from other applicants. And that's the student and parents' opportunity to give us their feedback as to what they feel distinguishes them from other applicants. So they would come to K25 for a copy.
Great. Next question. If the college does not require a letter of recommendation, should I still send one in?
Generally, I would say no. A lot of your larger schools like Penn State really go strictly by the numbers. They're going to look at your GPA and your SAT scores. The only exception to that would really be if you have something really unique to share with the college. Maybe a loss of a loved one while you were going through high school. Maybe you had a very challenging illness or injury throughout high school where you overcame that hardship. But generally speaking, if they don't require it, the students don't send them.
I would agree. Okay, last question. One student wants to know, where are the counselor mailboxes located?
So the counselor map, once the blue form is completed, the counselor mailboxes are located outside of their office door in K25. So keep in mind, the blue form goes to the counselor when it's completed. In home office K25, there's a very small box affixed to the wall outside of each counselor's door. Mrs. Manalo, Mrs. McGurman, and myself each have a box. That is for blue forms only. The pink forms, which is the records release form, goes to either K31, the College and Career Center, or the Transcript office.
Okay, so that's the last question that we have for today. If you guys have any other questions, again, please come down to the College and Career Center, come down to K25, and we'll definitely be here to help you in any way that we can. All right, thank you.